a disposable organ where nutrients, hormones, and waste are passed between mother and fetus. In this way, the placenta is a kind of language, perhaps our first one, our true mother tongue. Ocean Vuong. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for joining this soft whisper ASMR. I am so happy to talk to you today because I have something to reveal about a dream I had recently. The Spirit spoke through me. The Spirit spoke through my dreams. And bench in front of the storefront where I purchased the dolls. This lady rides by, passes by, behind me, behind the bench, and yells, $15. What? And that was the end of the dream. Believe it or not. I thought it was so lovely. And I knew it had to have some type of significance to my life. So I asked the cards, what is the significance of this dream? And I initially wanted a one card daily reading to answer my question. But when Spirit intervenes, sometimes the cards or Spirit can have a mind of its own, and you may encounter an involuntary experience. I'm gonna put it that way. I began to shuffle the deck, and this card fell out. But for some reason, I didn't stop the shuffle at that point. I continued to shuffle, and I began to shuffle, and I stopped, and I laid one card on the deck. I believe it was on the right side of the altar. This is short art. The creator of this oracle deck, Rebecca Campbell, said that this is a small portable altar. So on the right side of the altar is where I place the card. That card was the Mother Rose card. I got that card for my first reading that I ever did with the deck on the 8th, and it did not feel aligned for that reading at first, and it did not feel aligned for this reading either. So I said to myself, what's going on here? So I decided to reshuffle the cards once more. So I shuffled and shuffled and shuffled. And I believe another card slipped out. And if I'm not mistaken, when that card, I can look it up, hold on, I wrote the interpretation information down in my journal, so excuse me if I look. But while I was shuffling, I began to refocus the question again, because I just felt like Mother Rose does not align. The Mother Rose card just didn't feel aligned at that point. So once I shuffled once more, I got the healing is happening card. That's the kind of card I got, and I felt great about that card. I felt like it was aligned, and I started to feel as though I knew what it was referring to. And But also, I'm sorry I paused. I was just thinking. Also, while I was shuffling and I received the healing is happening card, the anointed card popped out. It just slipped out, just like this card did. The hell, this is the hell card. It slipped out. I'm sorry you can't see it, but it slipped out just like the held card. And I was like, oh my God, wow. I was so satisfied at that point. So then it became a 2-card spread. So I was thinking, excuse me, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe it's meant for this to be a 2-card spread. But apparently, again, that's not what Spirit and Plan had in mind or planned. So I just looked at it and something told me to go back to that held card. That held card was in my mind. And I said, oh my goodness, let me go back to this card. So I left the healing is happening and the anointed card on the altar. And I searched through the deck. This is a beautiful deck, by the way. I highly recommend that you purchase this deck from Zen Collection, by the way. That's where I purchased mine from. But I went through the deck and it was just, it's, the imagery is so beautiful. I went through the deck and I found the held card. And it all made sense. And so then it became a 4-card spread until I thought about what I had seen. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the grandmother's card was behind the held card when I went searching through the deck. And that felt aligned, so I took that out as well. And so, all together, I had 5 cards because I decided to keep the Mother Rose card. Here it is right here. I decided to keep the Mother Rose card because something told me to go back to it. Although I didn't feel as though it was aligned at first. Something told me to go back to it. And then, when I took all of them and I put them together, I realized that this was a 5-card spread explaining something about the significance of my dream. And it was giving me a full-on, detailed reading. The spirit, the divine feminine, was speaking to me through these cards. If it wasn't that, my energy, my feminine energy was transmuted into a reading, because this spoke to me. And I searched the book. When it spoke to me, I searched through the guidebook looking to see if it had a 5-card spread, and it did. And so I turned all of these, I positioned all 5 cards into that spread in the book, and I put them in order. just like to tap. Anyway, I wanted to explain what the held card means and its symbolism. So, excuse me if you see me looking down. I'm looking at my notes in my journal. So, I want to point out that one of my relatives, and I won't name them for their privacy because this is on social media, one of my relatives, close relatives, is going through something, an illness, and they were near me at first, and they just moved away. And that kind of is on my consciousness. So I said, my relative's illness has been weighing heavily on me. I've questioned my sense of community, stability, or support as a result. Spirit could feel this energy through the cards as I shuffle. This card is a divine reminder that I have no need to worry. I shall lean on the Spirit and angels. Unseen help is near. How ironic is the imagery of this card. A grandmother figure is seen hovering over a beautiful woman in fetal position, like I mentioned earlier when I was explaining. The imagery is so beautiful. So, I think Spirit could feel that. And it was letting me know you still have a support community. You don't feel as though you do. Because most of the time I don't. I am a solo mommy and I don't have much support. I won't explain why in this video. I won't go into that. But most of the time I feel as though I don't have as much support as I'm gonna put it this way, I don't feel as though I have the support as some moms may have. I don't have a lot of it. And so I believe Spirit was letting me know I'm here for you. There is unseen help that you are not necessarily paying attention to, but it's here. Don't be afraid. I'm cradling you. And I'm watching over you. And so Spirit, or the divine feminine, is somewhat like a maternal, grandmotherly spirit, which is beautiful. And I wanted to say that earlier today, I was speaking to myself and I was thinking about the reading because it was such a powerful reading. So beautiful. does it lie internally or externally? I mean, and I thought about that, and I ended up speaking to one of my participants, and she told me that she had, I won't name her name for privacy reasons, but my participant told me that she had somewhat of a difficult birth. She delivered yesterday on Mother's Day, and what happened was her baby kicked the placenta and it started bleeding. Our doctor was so afraid that our blood was going to leak around the cervix or give her a horrible UTI, and so the baby had to be delivered. The baby is healthy too, so, which I'm so happy about. This is what she had. I don't want to mess the name up, so I'm putting it on the screen here. I can't really pronounce it, but that's what she had. That's what that's called when the baby kicks the placenta and it bleeds. When that happens, it creates a disconnection between the mom and the baby. And it's serious because the placenta is no longer transferring the necessary nutrients to the child or connecting the mother to the baby. So the baby has to be born when that happens. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I was just thinking about the placenta, and I was just asking myself, symbolically, using the placenta as an allegory, and asking myself, who is your placenta? In life, who is your, really essentially what I'm saying is, who is your community? Who can you look up to? And who can you reach out to? And so, I just felt like this was even more of a confirmation. I'm sorry, I feel like this, when I wrote the information down about who is your placenta on the index cards, I felt like this was more confirmation from the spirit, from the divine feminine, that this is actively happening in my life right now. Spirit has me. Spirit is looking over me and protecting me. And I want to go back to the symbolism of the dream. In that dream, the dress of the doll, of one of the dolls, was navy blue. Now, I wrote down in my journal what navy blue symbolizes, especially when it's worn in a dream, whenever it's a part of clothing in a dream. So, what I said here was, in my journal, I said, the color navy blue. I am aware of blue being a peaceful color. However, I have never considered the significance of navy blue. This color can represent wisdom, spiritual protection, keyword, stability, and intuition.